You know, it's often had me puzzled how all this subdivision of orcharding land is eventually going to affect our orcharding industry. It seems to me that if it goes on the way it has been in the last, say, 5, 6, 10 years, it won't be very long before apples and pears might be a little bit hard to come by. But I suppose when you think about it, when the factories and the houses overran some of our Chinese market gardens, well, vegetables didn't fall off in supply, did they? But that might be just a little bit different because, after all, vegetables, well, you can plant them, say, this month, and, well, they'll be ready for harvesting in another 2 or 3 months. And apple trees and pear trees and other fruit trees, well, you know as well as I do, they take many years to come into production. I think what might be a very good idea, and that's if we go along and call on Mr. Colin Cole. He's the Superintendent of Horticulture at the Victorian Department of Agriculture.
Come in.
There, Mr. Cole. How are you?
Good morning, Owen. You're right on time.
Well, for a change,
Nice
yes.
to see you. Sit down.
Look, what I've come along to ask you, I thought you might be able to give us a lead on what effect all this subdivision out in the outer suburbs is having on our orcharding industry. It seems quite a problem to me.
Of course, Owen, the loss of orchards and farms through the expansion of a great city like Melbourne is not new. In fact, it's almost inevitable, though I must admit that during the last 10 years or so it's been quite spectacular. We estimate that somewhere about 2,500 acres of orchards have gone out to subdivision for housing over the last few years, and that amounts to about 5% of our total deciduous fruit area. Perhaps it makes you wonder whether you'll be able to keep up your apple a day, but actually you won't notice much difference in the supply of apples and pears at least. Maybe you will with peaches. But there are quite a number of other big problems associated with this changeover from country to town, and I think it's best if you were to see these at first hand. The area covered is quite large, of course. It's from Eltham through to Mitcham, but perhaps the Doncaster Templestowe area is the worst affected. Now, if you'd like to visit that, I'll put you in touch with Don Livermore, our orchard supervisor for the area, and he'll be able to show you just what's happening, what the problems are, and how they're being met.
How did you know? To get watching it.
I know. Up on top of the tree.
Well, yeah, this fish, get them and on upstairs.
Pete had one up there. Come on, Bob, get down here. Come on, Bob, they're waiting on you.
Come on, Bob.
What?
Down
Up
in
there? Yes, come on. Never mind the ladder. Get down here and pick from the ground.
Well, there you are. We would have been quite wrong to assume that all this land subdivision is affecting our orcharding industry to any great extent. That is the production, I mean. And besides what we've just seen in the way of better management, which of course results in heavier crops, you also must take into consideration all the development that's taking place in the Goulburn Valley and on the Mornington Peninsula. And if you take all this into consideration, well, I think you will agree with me that, well, we'll have plenty of fresh fruit for many, many years to come yet.